Hi, welcome to Off Script. I'm Zach Lewis.
And I'm Dr. Draper.
Today on the show, we're checking out Kenneth Branagh's Death on the Nile. The new Agatha Christie movie is out and about, or based on an Agatha Christie novel, is out and about, and we're excited to talk about it. We went and saw it, and we're going to let you know if it's worth your time. We have a ton of movie trailers to dig through. Likely the most we've ever had on this show before in one episode. And we're going to be hitting those in between our reviews. We have a small review for Drive My Car, Japan's entry into the Academy Awards this year. Only one of us got to go see it. It is quite long, and I'm going to tell you whether or not it is worth your time. And before we get to all of that, we need to talk about the news. First things first, MoviePass is coming back. Andy, what the hell is this? How is MoviePass coming back?
Back from the grave.
Somehow. I don't believe it. For those of you who don't remember, MoviePass was a movie subscription service that launched just a few years ago. And blew up, got critical acclaim when they announced that you could go see any movie in the United States for a low price of $10 a month. As many movies as you wanted, I think, at any theater. It was insane. People abused it. The whole company burned out, and it left an impact on the industry in its wake. How is this back, Andy? What's going on here?
The dead speak.
The dead speak. Somehow Palpatine returned.
Somehow MoviePass returned.
Somehow.
Well, Stacy Spikes, a founder of MoviePass, which actually it launched sometime around 2011, but it was at a $50 price point. It was pretty hefty. He kind of backed out away from the company when it got sold to Helios and Matheson, has bought it back out of bankruptcy, and plans to move forward with new pricing tiers, new model to try to create a subscription service that audiences can use. It will not be the $10, dumpster fire that we witnessed a few years ago. That was really insane. He's going to be partnering primarily with smaller theater chains and art house places. They say in this article he can't compete with like loyalty programs like AMC Stubs or Cinemark, whatever it's called.
You're a subscriber to Cinemark.
I know they got me, but I don't remember what it's called. So it's going to be interesting because it's not going to be the free for all Wild West that it was a few years ago. It's going to be something different. And while it was a huge joke, because the company crashed and burned, they were burning through cash like no one's business, burned out in like 9 or 10 months. It did change the industry. Like we didn't have subscriptions or loyalty programs until then. So they kicked off. Everyone's got some sort of loyalty program now. So it did make an impact, and we'll see kind of, the details are still really kind of scarce. We don't know what the price points are. We don't know what the tiers are. We don't know how they're going to try to incentivize theaters and moviegoers themselves. So we'll see. I think maybe this summer it might be out.
Yeah, it's definitely dicey from a PR side of things. Andy's right. Like MoviePass undeniably changed the way movie theaters are approaching customers. Like before MoviePass, they had AMC Stubs, but like it was free. I think they might have had some kind of paid tier so you could get concessions, but there really weren't additional screenings involved, maybe some kind of discount at the box office. But Cinemark also did not really have a plan for this. And following up on MoviePass, God, I remember that summer going to see movies, and on the box offices, there were like printouts posted by management that were like, not accepting MoviePass. Do not use MoviePass cards here. Like it was a whole thing. It upturned the industry in the best way. And the numbers coming out of MoviePass are crazy. They're saying they had something like 3 million users seeing something like 50 million films in a year, which is nuts. And they say that it was actually a really big boon for smaller cinema, right? Independent films, which is true. According to their data, the thing they moved the needle on the most, Sorry to Bother You, it had something like 19.7% of its viewers using a MoviePass stub to get in. So it's definitely helpful. I think it shakes up the industry and it encourages people to see more films. It's really a shame there's not like a good economic way to work it, and also you now can't beat what AMC and Cinemark are offering their own loyalty customers. I don't know how they get out of this.
Yeah, it's going to be a real challenge, but the way they did kind of, allegedly help smaller films is pretty interesting, because people will only want to spend money on kind of guarantees, big movies, Star Wars, Marvel, Spider-Man, that sort of thing. Something lesser known and independent, people are less likely to risk going to see. But if you can see it on a budget or see it, at a discounted price, you don't feel so bad if it's not a great film. So that it definitely could continue to help out the independent market.
Right. But obviously it's got to make sense from a business side. I've heard they're gonna have some kind of virtual currency called credits, it says here. I've read somewhere there's a rumor about eye tracking technology that'll play ads for you and will only actually give you credits if you watch them. And it's anybody's guess what new MoviePass is gonna be. But when it comes out, keep it here on Oscript to find out what exactly is going on, because we are totally gonna dig into it. So, keep listening to your boys here on Oscript Film Review. Next up, the Oscars have hosts. This is actually kind of a two-part story. Number one, the Oscars announced late last week that they were going to have multiple hosts this year at the Oscars. And then number two, they actually announced them just the other day. So we've got who is going to be our Oscar announcers. Andy, I know I stuck this in last minute, so I can run with it for a minute. Do you want to do the honors? Do you want to, tell everybody who's going to be presenting the most prestigious awards of the year?
We have three comedians, I believe: Regina Hall, Amy Schumer, and Wanda Sykes to host. They usually get a comedic type person for these roles. I don't really particularly think of any of these people as particularly super funny, but it's an interesting approach. Obviously, they're trying to aim at younger people, aim at get more diversity on stage. But funny enough, in recent memory, the most successful Oscars was the one that was hostless, where they they just had the stars kind of do a little bit of the heavy lifter or the announcers. But also what I've understood is that it's a tough gig because it's a full like 3.5 hours. It's a lot of writing. It's a lot of time out of people's busy entertainment schedules. And so by divvying it up into three people, they're basically each going to take an hour segment. You get more variety in your hosts. It's easier for your host to get in on it, and also they don't take as much of a hit because it's a high profile gig, and if it bombs, a lot of times it's unfairly blamed on the host. So at least blame can kind of go around this time if that happens.
It's true. I'm not excited about this at all. Look, I am excited that they have women hosting the Oscars. I'm excited that there's some diversity. I do like Wanda Sykes. I don't know Regina Hall, and I'm not an Amy Schumer fan, so I'm pretty lukewarm on the actual picks. But what was surprising was I feel like how many people suggested folks who seemed like more aspiring hosts. I mean, we were seeing rumors for people like Tom Holland to host the Oscars this year is kind of
great.
Like a sheep in the middle of the, I don't know, like just kind of running around wide-eyed, like doing his Peter Parker thing. People said Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez from Hulu's Only Murders in the Building should host as the three hosts. Also worth mentioning, they when asked, they said they were approached by the Academy but were unavailable, which poses an interesting question. Was this the Oscars' first pick for hosts?
No.
Or was this who they could get? Because everybody said no.
Well, like I said, I don't know if they said that they would be doing, this segmented approach, which I think that helps because no one wants to take on the 3-hour show by themselves. I don't care like how good of an entertainer you are. That's just a lot to shoulder. It's a lot out of people's schedule as well, like for rehearsals and things like that. But it's become a notorious gig, notoriously difficult to have and to do well and not be ridiculed the next day. So I mean, most people probably passed on it.
Yeah, I don't envy anybody who's got that job. When asked this morning on Good Morning America, Amy Schumer said, quote, "I'm not sure who thought this was a good idea, but I'm hosting the Oscars along with Wanda Sykes and Regina Hall. I had better go watch some movies." Really excited about the Oscars this year, guys.
Oh, God.
So keep it here on Off Script for more from the Oscars.
Tom Holland would have been great. You bring in the guy from the biggest movie of the last 2.5 years.
Oh God, you would joke about it not getting
hardly
getting any noms.
Yeah, he would have been great.
He's wiry and kind of short. He'd be running around. He would have been, I think, a really good pick.
Yeah, I mean the Oscars is an A-list gig, and you got like B-list, C-list stars to host. So it makes me think makes me think the A-listers were like, no, I'll pass.
That's the other thing. They never actually lean into anybody with hosting ability. Like, I think you'd be chasing down late night hosts maybe to pick it up and run with it. Like, that would work. I don't know. Or maybe like
Fallon.
somebody fancy from British television, like Graham Norton could do it. Like, people who actually are qualified hosts and understand how to keep an audience and a stage presence, like, might give you something. But when you hire actors, and many of them seem to say no, I don't know. It doesn't bode well for the show. So I don't know. Our last story this week from the box office: Death on the Nile tops the Super Bowl weekend with a subdued $12.8 million. That actually, Andy, I'm going to be honest, it's better than I thought it was going to be. And that's only domestic. That's not global.
I mean, I did think I thought there was a chance it might lose out to Jackass Forever, which would have been hilarious.
That would have been hilarious.
But it's Super Bowl weekend is a really tough time. It's you kind of counter program a movie to combat the Super Bowl, but it's also just kind of a dumping ground. You just don't expect to make very much, and you can blame it on the Super Bowl.
Right. Death on the Nile had an uphill climb. It was angling towards older audiences. I was reading here that 28% of people who bought tickets opening weekend were over the age of 45, which sounds about right, because that's kind of, you're looking at 35 and older audience, I think, for Death on the Nile. It's an Agatha Christie adaptation. And it's a bit of a bummer, right? We're going to talk about it in just a second. It's our first review of the show, so we'll get to it in just a moment to talk about it more. But considering it's got a relatively star-studded cast, right? And it's been delayed heavily since it was originally supposed to shoot in 2019. It's a bit of a bummer. It seems like Kenneth Branagh really likes making these things, really likes appearing as Hercule Poirot, and he may not have another opportunity. But overall, overseas, it came out to a global start of $34 million, including what it made internationally, which is not too bad. For a quick comparison, I ran some numbers before the show. Murder on the Orient Express, the previous film to this, premiered in 2017. That cost $50 million to make, and it made $30 million opening weekend, which is not too bad. This cost $90 million to make on the conservative end, maybe a little bit more. And it came out to 34 million total as well. I should say Agatha Christie's was 30. For Murder on the Orient Express was 30 million domestic, not international. So it made almost, I think, its whole budget back first weekend. This has made a third of its budget back first weekend. So maybe not super promising, but I think they're likely going to clear 90 million between their theatrical run and then it coming out on streaming services. Like they'll get over the hump. They'll make back what they made, but not a promising start for the future of these films.
Interesting that Jackass Forever was still number 2 with about 8 million at the box office, and with number 3 being "Marry Me," the Jennifer Lopez rom-com with Owen Wilson.
There is something so inherently,
which also premiered on Peacock.
It's right. That's true. It also came out. Yeah. Marry Me also premiered on Peacock. So for what it's worth, it did not beat Jackass, but it also had a simultaneous streaming launch. And I'm sure Peacock saw some good numbers from that, at least for whatever good numbers for Peacock are. There's something so inherently funny about any Jackass film beating anything else at the box office. Like, it's so stupid, but like, I love the feeling of low art coming in and just blowing high art completely out of the water in its own jackassy way. Anything else you want to talk about on this one, Andy? I guess we should get to the proper review, right? That's gonna be the meat of Death on the Nile.
Ready for it.
Well, with that, we should get to it. Andy's agreed to take the summary on this one. Andy, please take it away.
Death on the Nile. So this is the follow-up to 2017's Murder on the Orient Express, directed by Kenneth Branagh, who also stars as a world-renowned detective, Hercule Poirot. This we get a little bit of his backstory, origin story of his mustache at the beginning of the film.
Surprising bit of trivia. Apparently, that was never in the Agatha Christie novels. She never got into his mustache or his scars or his love life. So a little bit of that Kenneth Branagh in this movie.
Yeah. The main plot itself, we find ourselves in Egypt. Hercule Poirot is on vacation on the Nile. He very funnily, half his friends are there. He just bumps into them in Egypt.
He's a world-renowned detective, Andy. Of course, they're going to be. He always runs into people.
So he bumps into a number, and there's a ton of people in this movie. So, and the way these are ordered is difficult on the page. But he is on vacation. There are also kind of a who's who of people. Gal Gadot is there. She is a newlywed couple to Armie Hammer. They are madly in love, yet they are being pursued by the stalker named Lady Jacqueline, played by Emma Mackey.
Emma
They all
Mackey.
set sail on this boat for a cruise, along with another cast of characters. There's a doctor, there's the musicians, there's the lawyer, there's a lot of people, and I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible. Eventually, there is a murder on the boat, and Hercule Poirot is sets his mind to task to discover the identity of the killer, and try to solve the mystery of like 10 people on what is relatively a small boat. And we find out a lot about the characters' backstories and possible motivations. And like any Agatha Christie mystery, everyone has a motive of one type or another. And that's our setup.
Hold on a second. I have to sneeze really bad. Okay, it went away. All right. All right. Yes, Death on the Nile. So Death on the Nile is, like I said, a movie aimed at older audiences. This is an adaptation of an Agatha Christie novel. It's the second in Kenneth Branagh's, Hercule Poirot series. It seems like he's a big fan. Branagh's a big Shakespeare actor. He's into directing, and his most recent work, Belfast, is nominated for 7 Academy Awards. His movie before that is Artemis Fowl on Disney Plus. So he's a bit of a lopsided director, I think. And there's a lot that I thought actually was kind of smart in Death on the Nile, but overall, I do feel it misses the mark a little bit. It's kind of just okay. I think there may be some people who go see it who think it's pretty good stuff. Maybe if you're a big whodunit fan, and I love a good whodunit, but it's just lacking. And I say this a little ignorantly. I didn't actually see Murder on the Orient Express, Andy. I'm not sure if you did either.
Didn't.
But there's some clear differences in production here, and there's some clear setbacks that Death on the Nile kind of has to overcome, both in the public eye and on the production side, behind the scenes, that I want to talk about that may contribute to why it just doesn't feel like quite the adventure I was hoping for. So let's get into Death on the Nile. Andy, what'd you think?
Oh gosh. So
Andy and I haven't taled about this either.
Yeah, big picture. So there are some good things. I think it's well directed and it's well acted. It's a who's who cast. It kind of it's huge. Like I said, Armie Hammer, Gal Gadot, Emma Mackey. Sorry, everyone's listed terribly in the same. Kenneth Branagh, Letitia Wright, Sophia Okonedo.
Yeah,
I'm trying to.
So I want to talk about this really quick because I had to pull this up. So in Murder on the, I was doing research before the show, and in both Murder on the Orient Express and Death on the Nile, in the cast list, the characters are listed basically in order of appearance, not in order of popularity. So you got to go to like Wikipedia to get an actual proper quick hit list of popular characters and actors who are appearing.
That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, and Murder on the Orient Express had about half the budget that Death on the Nile did, and it had a pretty killer opening cast list. Here, I'll rattle a couple off. Obviously, Kenneth Branagh's Hercule Poirot, Tom Bateman, Penelope Cruz, Willem Dafoe, Judi Dench, Johnny Depp, Josh Gad, Leslie Odom Jr., Michelle Pfeiffer, Daisy Ridley. That's almost everybody on the train. And like almost everybody in there is a name you should either be familiar with, or if I showed you a picture, you'd go, oh yeah, that person. Like you'd know almost everybody. Death on the Nile does not have that luxury. Death on the Nile has like 5 people.
You know about half the crew.
Yeah, and they're not as popular. They're not quite as alluring as the previous film's cast. And I do think that hurts its, that hurts turnout.
Right. So we have, just a rundown, Tom Bateman, Kenneth Branagh, Annette Bening, Russell Brand, Ali Fazal, Don French, Gal Gadot, Armie Hammer, Rose Leslie, Emma Mackey, Sophie Okonedo, Jennifer Saunders, Letitia Wright, and Susanna Fielding are the main actors. Half of these people the other half you probably don't.
Yes, I know a few of those off the top of my head. Otherwise, I don't know those people.
So I do think it is well acted, and we kind of get into all the characters. They all have a little bit of a backstory that we learn about. I think it really struggles narratively. The murder in question doesn't happen until over an hour into the film. It's like an hour and 5 minutes, which generally I was thinking the murder is probably going to happen by the end of Act 1. I couldn't really tell where we went from Act 1 to Act 2 or Act 2 to Act 3. It's really just it's just narratively it struggles, and it's just not that interesting. Like the mystery of who done it isn't, it's not that surprising, and it's not that mysterious, and you're not really wondering. Like I said, everyone is made to be out of these like 10 people. Everyone has a motive. And you don't, and I'm not going to spoil it here. You also don't know who the victim is in the from like the marketing or anything of it. So it's just not super interesting or compelling. It's definitely leaning on the cast, the setting. I mean, this is a novel. I mean, it's set in the 40s or late 30s, so describing Egypt as like this it would have been very exotic at the time. The other thing is that all the characters' motivation is everything is super old fashioned. It's like the characters' motives are like, well, mother doesn't approve of my love, and so I need to find a way to become an independent man, and lots of these super arcane motivations of characters that I almost feel like you need to if you're going to do this movie, you got to update it, because it's so outdated in a lot of ways.
Yeah, like I think the biggest problems come in the writing. Because like you said, the directing's not bad. I think there are like slices of the directing that might be brilliant. There are moments, there's a few scenes and a few shots in this film that are really good stuff. That's the stuff that I think made it into Belfast, right? That's the stuff that's got Kenneth Branagh at the Academy Awards this year. But a lot of this movie is just like kind of fluff and doesn't make sense. Andy's right. Like in a good whodunit, your 3-act structure is really simple. Act 1 ends when the first murder happens and it's discovered. Act 2 is basically the entire investigation. Act 3 is the reveal, right? The prestige. Who did it? That's the whole game. That's usually how it goes. The Death on the Nile doesn't happen until over an hour into the movie. It's only 2 hours long. So like, what is happening in the first half? And it makes it tough to watch because it's got the same damn problem M. Night Shyamalan's Old has. Everybody sitting in the theater knows somebody dies on the Nile. We all know that going in. And if it takes an hour for all the characters in the movie to get there, what are we all doing in the audience besides chewing our popcorn and checking our watches? You got to get to the goods quicker. And I do think there's some valiant efforts made. I think that first hour is really spent building out Poirot's character. I know I'm butchering the pronunciation, but I can't quite do an accent as thick as Kenneth Branagh can, which is dense in this movie. There are lines where I had trouble understanding him.
I mean, he actually speaks French, I think.
Yeah.
So that's why he can do it.
I think, and I'll say this at the end too, I think Kenneth Branagh is a better actor than he is a director. It's like Jared Leto, right? I think you might be a better musician and or actor than you are of the other. Just pick a lane and stick with it. And that's where I land with Kenneth Branagh. Like the man can turn out great performances, and he does. There's a couple scenes in Death on the Nile where he has a turn of emotion in a single camera take, and he'll well up tears. He'll get emotional about a memory, maybe, and they're really good stuff. But that first hour is mostly dedicated to building out his character. The film opens with this kind of black flashback to World War I. It's black and white, and it's like it's the first indication that the CGI is not going to work, because you have a deep fake young Kenneth Branagh, and his face on, I think it's Kenneth Branagh acting the scenes, but the CGI'd face on him, obviously it's drawn down younger. It is like a noticeably different skin tone and flesh color than everybody else.
Like a video game.
Rich black and white. Yeah, it looks terrible. And it's the first indication, like, oh no. We just started the movie. And the setting looks okay, but the rest of it doesn't look great, and then it doesn't get better from there.
So the other thing, that's the opening scene, is this like it's a World War I thing with Poirot in the trenches in like 1917. So that's the opening scene, and then we have kind of another opening scene which is not on the boat. This is not in Egypt. This is like at a jazz club in London or something, and this is where we kind of set up some of the characters and their relationships with other peoples, where we meet Gal Gadot's Lady Lynette. God, there's so many people.
I don't recall the names. I can tell you their kind of roles and
right. So we meet a handful of characters in this jazz club, and that sets up something. And then we get to Egypt, and then we meet even more characters, and it's just like I said, I couldn't tell with the structure of this movie. It's really lacking. And like I said, spends too much time trying to give everyone a backstory. And then like the murder doesn't happen till way too late. And then you got to solve it in like 40 minutes.
So I know a little bit about the writing of this because, believe it or not, they actually pared the novel down. There were more characters on the boat,
Oh
more
god.
characters on the ferry traveling down the titular Nile, and they knocked that down a bit and tried to condense some of them because they felt like, hey, it needs to be less complicated. Which, for the most part, works. Like once you actually get into that second half of the film and you've got an actual murder mystery happening, every character kind of falls into their roles. Everybody's got their own motivations. Poirot is surprisingly accusatory towards everybody, but I think that's kind of his
His
character. He's
style,
also
yeah.
yeah, he's also got some detective. I don't know if that's an old 30s thing. Like you gotta shake the tree and see what falls out, right? You gotta
Yeah.
grab a woman and slap her and tell her she murdered somebody before somebody confess. I don't know what, but like that part kind of works, and our cast does kind of fall into where they need to be. But I think it's hindered by the setting. The ferry is on a giant green screen. Like it's a big green screen set. And,
Yeah,
it's never real in the background and it always looks fake. Like every time I looked out past the windows of the ferry, if you're watching on the live stream, you can kind of see a little bit of the setting as they've got it in the film. It doesn't work. They tried to capture this opulent, like Egyptian setting, right? And like when you kind of get there in the first half of the movie, the music swings in, and for a moment you see the pyramids and the Sphinx, and you're like, yeah, all right, we're in Egypt. And then you realize it looks like noticeably worse than 1999's The Mummy starring Brendan Fraser. And if your movie looks worse than 1999's The Mummy starring Brendan Fraser, we have problems. That's a low bar. Like that shouldn't be a high watermark. And like somehow it doesn't come through. Like they spent too much money on CGI, and I just think they missed it.
well, yeah, that's the other thing is this. I mean, you can't really film in Egypt these days because it just doesn't like the pyramids don't look great with what's around it because there's a lot of
Yeah.
city, and so you can't really film this the way. And so like the entire landscapes are again all CGI, pyramids CGI, Sphinx CGI. Like they obviously were nowhere near Egypt, and that that just really looks bad. There's a bunch of underwater stuff that's also all CGI, and then the boat. It's I mean the set itself looks fine, but also the boat's super small. Like if it were a giant ocean liner with hundreds of people, but there's literally like 15 people on this boat, and I'm like it can't be that hard to account for everyone.
Yeah, and you don't get a good sense of visual direction, which is I think important in a good whodunit, right? You need to understand the setting pretty well. And like the boat has a bunch of rooms on it. You never really get to see everything, and they're kind of walking up and down sides of it and popping in here, and somebody else is in here, and it's like that stuff's important in a good mystery. Like you want your audience to feel like they've got a pretty good grounded feeling of setting so they can better understand the clues as presented to them and maybe parse out who done it, right? That stuff's important. But yeah, the ferry just doesn't really work. I didn't see Murder on the Orient Express, but I have a feeling the train was probably a bit tighter, and I think probably created like car settings up and down the train where you could have individual interactions with characters. The ferry doesn't quite pull it together. But the cast, I think, does a decent job, and that's worth talking about. I do want to talk about the half of the cast who's been slandered. I don't know. Does not have good PR, which also does not contribute to this.
Real quick before we move on to that, I wanted to mention that I thought about Knives Out quite a bit because it's a modern.
Oh, me too.
It's a modern whodunit.
Yes.
And it's done so well, and it's so funny because that movie is really looking back on things like Death on the Nile and Murder on the Orient Express for inspiration, and then it's kind of a modern masterpiece of whodunit and how much it's done so much better. But also one of the interesting things about Knives Out is that the whodunit isn't the focus of the movie. It's really Rian Johnson is using this murder mystery to talk about issues of like class and race and the like socioeconomic like social issues through this. Like Death on the Nile isn't about anything but the mystery.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you say that they should have maybe modernized it or approached it, because there are things in here that are modern. We have a diverse cast, and skin color is never really, what's the best way to say this? It's never directly addressed. Nobody's ever like, well, I don't want her on the boat because she looks different than I do, which arguably in the 30s, that might have been a problem. Like that may have been something that sparse characters may have had an issue with, but everybody on the ferry plays nice, and that's good. But that does lead to this weird kind of kind of fantasy history. Like, and I'm not saying you need that in your movie, but between like bad CGI sunsets in the background and a script that just feels a little flagrant, like it doesn't really pull you in. I just kind of felt like I was waiting to find out where it was going next. And I don't know, I didn't feel like I was drawn into anything with any real weight or measure. Just it's like a fluff piece.
Right. So we wanted to move on to performances, and
Yeah.
so Gal Gadot is the kind of leading lady. She's Lady Lynette Ridgway.
She
She's
featured heavily on the front of the poster. If you're watching us
yeah,
on Facebook or YouTube, you can
she's
see it. Yeah.
very wealthy, very newly engaged or married to Armie Hammer, who was engaged to Lady Jacqueline, who is weirdly stalking them, and has been stalking them like literally around the world.
It's a little strange,
which
yeah.
doesn't seem realistic, but go on.
No, Lady Jacqueline played by Emma Mackey. You also have, I'd say, other noteworthy performances will include Letitia Wright. What's her name from Game of Thrones? What is
Rose Leslie?
I forgot she was in this film until she kind of pops up, and she does not have a particularly large part, but she is here. And also Russell Brand is worth mentioning as a doctor. Tom Bateman's all right, but the problem with this cast is many of them currently are not sitting particularly well in the public purview, which will hurt sales. It's part of the reason this movie got pushed back, actually. Specifically, this movie was supposed to come out in late 2021, and literally, as listed on IMDb and Wikipedia, I checked today, the reason it was pushed back in 2021 to 2022 is because Armie Hammer is a cannibal. Armie Hammer,
allegedly,
who is our lead, our basically second male lead, closely behind Hercule Poirot. I thought he was allegedly a cannibal too, because some messages had come out from like a former ex who was like, he was like, God, I want to eat your skin, which is weird. But apparently like multiple women have corroborating reports and images and regarding issues of abuse around this man that have come together since. So like, I say Armie Hammer's a cannibal because like, apparently multiple people in his life has confirmed that he is actual factual wants to eat people. So that's an issue. Meanwhile, Letitia Wright and Russell Brand are arguably anti-vaxxers, which can lead to political reasons that people aren't going to see your movie. Gal Gadot is the reason this movie isn't coming out in a number of foreign markets, because she was a member of the Israel.
She was in the army in Israel.
Military? Yeah. So by default, a lot of places like Palestine are not going to be running Death on the Nile. I guess it's got some issues on the PR side of things. And for performances, they're okay. Honestly, the only one I really think is worth talking about is uniquely, Andy, I don't know if you share this view, Lady Jacqueline, Emma Mackey.
I thought you were going to say someone else, but keep going.
You probably was going to say Hercule Poirot.
No, I was Russell Brand. I didn't even realize Russell Brand plays the doctor. I didn't realize that it was Russell Brand until like halfway through the movie.
It's a subdued performance. I'll give you that. It's definitely not Russell Brand playing Russell Brand, and I appreciated that.
Yeah, because
Emma Mackey. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say Russell Brand. Like, you know him a lot just by his look. He usually has a really long, like curly hair, and he's just like very intense, and he's like the main thing when he's on screen. And he's a very reserved role, and he's like very clean cut. Like I said, I didn't even recognize him at first until pretty late into the film. I was like, oh my god, he's actually acting and not just.
It says a lot. Yeah, it says a lot if you can slip into a role and other people, kind of lose your identity in there. You're right. That's worth mentioning. No, for me, Emma Mackey stole the scene. I've never seen her in anything. I looked her up. She was in Netflix's Sex Education as a completely different character. She plays this, she plays this kind of twisted up woman who is just basically a stalker who is obsessed with Armie Hammer's character and cannot let it go, just following him around the world. She gets a couple scenes with Kenneth Branagh where he tries to really plead with her and be like, hey, you need to stop this. You come to your sense. Yeah. And she gets teary-eyed and she's kind of nuts, but it feels like there's a genuine emotion. I was like, who is this wonderful woman? She's stealing scenes. So I liked her in this movie, but Russell Brand is definitely worth mentioning. You're right. I didn't think of it that way. He is very much not himself. Not on brand for him.
Right.
Gal Gadot has been catching some heat on the internet for her delivery, namely of a meme-worthy scene where she exclaims that we have enough champagne to fill the Nile.
Oh yeah, that's so cringe.
Look, we've talked about Gal Gadot on this show before. All right. Like, I think Gal Gadot's fine. I do not expect her to be winning Academy Awards. All right. She is great at what she does. She fits the role fine. I got no issues with Gal Gadot in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the writing isn't great in general. Her yeah, she does have some kind of, but she's also supposed to be like the weird leader. You know, she's leading the expedition down the Nile as well. Like, again, this whole thing is just, it's so outdated. Like, it's just so, like, I don't know when the novel came out, probably in the 40s, 30s, 40s, whatever.
30s. Yeah, I couldn't
Yeah.
tell you.
I mean, it's super arcane. I think if you're gonna do this, you gotta update it. You can do the whole thing. Well, then you can actually maybe make it a lot more interesting, like change a lot of the story. But you put it on a cruise liner or something, and you get the cast with that doesn't have 19th century motivations.
Like Speed 2, cruise control.
Yeah,
that's what this should have
mother
been.
doesn't approve of my fiance. Which reminds me, there's this whole B plot involving Annette Bening and her son Book, played by Tom Bateman, and this is part of the B plot is she doesn't approve of the woman that he wants to marry, and so he's trying to find a way to become independent because he's a kept man right now. And it's just, I was like, this is so old and outdated. Like, what are we even talking about here? Like, no one can relate to this, right?
Well, it was funny because like early in the film, in that kind of London nightclub scene where Poirot is first introduced to a handful of our characters, they're dancing and they're having fun and partying, and Poirot's like sitting over a table by himself. He's got 7 desserts and he's trying to get rid of one because he's got OCD, and he's like, no, 6 is fine for me. And he's just this old man sitting alone, observing everybody. And like, you get these wonderful shots, honestly, too much, of Armie Hammer and Emma Mackey dancing, and Gal Gadot comes in. They have this whole thing, and he's like sitting on the wall, being a wallflower, just observing. Right? He's world famous detective. But I realized pretty quickly, like right in that opening scene, oh, all the young people in here are like sheep, and Hercule Poirot, the old man in the back, is our hero. Oh no! Like, why do I care? The old guy's sitting down is somehow the hero of this story. It's because this is aimed at older audiences. Like, this is for older folks who are going to see a refined piece of cinema, or what they think might be a refined piece of cinema. And they want an older protagonist, and that's okay. But it does feel like he often is just so far elevated above everybody else in the movie. He literally walks around talking about he's a world famous detective.
Yeah, he's like too clever for his
jokes
own
about it. Yes, like he's too pompous in a way that makes him, to me, unlikable. He is charming, but just overblown. And I think that's just the character. I think that's Hercule Poirot. So I mean, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I was going to mention Armie Hammer is he's fine. It's just so weird. Like, it's weird how much he is in this movie. Like, he's one of the leads, and then just how absent he has been from marketing and all that.
Yeah,
since the cannibal scandal has come out.
Yeah. If anybody else wants to go see his last ever film, Death on the Nile, is aptly named and is for you. Any other thoughts for recommendations?
I'm ready.
Andy, would you recommend Death on the Nile?
Save it for streaming. If you're a big Agatha Christie fan, if you're a fan of who done it, yeah, I think it might be for you. But skip the theaters. I mean, I saw it for $6.25 at the early bird special, and I would still say just save it for streaming if you're interested. It's got some good parts. Like I said, it's got a really fabulous cast. I do think it's well directed. The ship set looks pretty good. Like, that was probably super expensive. But then a lot of things don't work. Ton of CGI for basically all the outdoor shots, all the landscape stuff. It looks like a video game, and just the narrative itself just isn't super interesting or compelling. You know, I was thinking about Knives Out, and there's a lot of people in Knives Out, but there's only a couple of suspects. You know, because a lot of people are just happen to be there when it happens. And in the house, but there's only a few suspects, so it's a lot simpler mystery in a lot of ways. It also just gets going. Like, the movie opens with people being interviewed, and the murder has already happened, and you don't get it till the flashback. So
right,
there's some things that work about Death on the Nile. it's got a lot of problems to save it for streaming.
I'm in the same boat. Save it for streaming. Do not spend money on this movie. Do not go see it in theaters. Andy paid $6.25. I went and saw it opening night, prime time, and I paid no less than $17 to see
The pain.
Murder on the Orient Express. So do not go out of your way. Yeah, like just wait till it comes to streaming. I think it will. It's criminal. Murder on the Orient Express, of course, is not on any streaming service right now, which is part of the reason I didn't watch it in front of this, because I didn't want to pay more money for this.
They so should have sold it to a streaming service.
Yes, this should have been straight to streaming. Honestly, if it had gone straight to streaming, I think it could have had legs that could have made a third one, and they still might. But like, this might be curtains on Kenneth Branagh's Hercule Poirot aspirations. I don't know if a third one's coming after this.
He's also, I mean, he's fun, but he's not like Benoit Blanc, which is
uniquely no. Yeah,
Daniel Craig's character from
he is not.
Knives Out. He's not a super, and this isn't, the kind of eccentric detective is a well-worn trope, and he's not. We have so much more modern, more intriguing, exciting, interesting versions of that.
Yeah, it lands in this weird spot where your hero also has plot armor and is innumerable and also knows it and talks about how famous they are, and the cast is okay and the CGI looks bad. Just Death on the Nile is okay. It is an okay murder mystery. Yeah, if you're a whodunit fan and you haven't seen it, I would recommend Knives Out hand over fist over this movie. Like, I really would. And from what I've heard from people who saw Murder on the Orient Express, same thing. I heard that movie wasn't bad, so I'm gonna have to go catch it later. But with that, we should move on to our next segment. We're doing something new on the show. We've talked about trailers before, but never this many trailers. Andy, I'm excited. Go ahead.
Sorry, I do want to interrupt. I have a quick question. So we just passed Valentine's Day. And so this question was going around yesterday, but what is your favorite romance movie about love or rom-com? Something you don't have to answer right now. You can take a minute. We can come back to it. My choice was Blue Valentine because I love a good tragedy.
Good God. Yeah. Blue Valentine, huh? Jesus. I don't know. I would think about it. It's probably going to be something cheesy. My mom loves a bunch of old rom-coms, so it'll be something out of those. It'll be like Love Actually, or I guess It's a Wonderful Life doesn't really count. It's more of a story about self-fulfillment than it is about love. So I don't know. I'll have to think about it.
Yeah, think about it.
Yeah.
We'll circle back at the end of the show.
Yeah, let me simmer on that for a minute. In the meantime, we have no less than, drumroll please, 8 movie trailers to talk about today. Way too many for one episode, which is part of the reason our Drive My Car review will be a little short on the end, but I'm excited to get to it. With that being said, Andy, 8 trailers. How do you? I figure we should alternate. You do one, then I'll do one, then you do one, then I'll do one. Do you want to start, or first? I guess we should just introduce the segment proper. That's important. I got a sound cue for it. Go for it.
It's time for the trailer park.
Yes. All right.
So I'm going to actually take these first 2 because the first one is actually most of what we've already seen. So we got a full trailer of Lightyear, which is going to be the Buzz Lightyear kind of origin story movie coming from Pixar in the summer. A lot of the same kind of footage that we saw in the teaser. We get a little bit more plot. It looks like the space colony or whatever is stuck on the planet they're on, and they're trying to escape, and Buzz Lightyear is the one person who is going to escape and get help. It looks really cool. I'm really excited about that. That looks like a lot of fun. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Lightyear looks okay. I think the new trailer looks better than I thought the teaser trailer did. They're really stretching that David Bowie Starman license they're using. God, I feel like it's going to be in the movie.
Love that. Love that.
Yeah, which I mean, honestly, kind of fits. Like it looks like it's got a good tone, and surprisingly, we're actually get a bit of Chris Evans talking as Buzz in this one. It works because Chris Evans is acting Buzz Lightyear. He's not just being Chris Evans. He's actually trying to emulate a bit of the voice.
He is,
and
Buzz
it kind of
Lightyear.
fits. Yeah, I don't mind it. Although I do think the robot cat thing looks lame. That looks like the easiest movie cash in for toys I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, it doesn't even articulate like BB-8. At least BB-8 has to roll. At least that's complicated. The cat thing is like a toy from the 90s. I don't know. Merchandising seems cheap, but it's Pixar.
Yeah. Next on our list is a film called Men, which was a new A24 horror psychological thriller. What makes me excited about this is that it's by director Alex Garland, who made Annihilation and Ex Machina before that, two phenomenal sci-fi films. Haven't seen anything from him for a long time. It stars Jessie Buckley, who goes on after the death of her husband. She goes on a vacation to the English countryside. This trailer was super creepy. Like, I don't really know what's going on. She's wandering around like the English countryside by herself. There's shadows. There's like specters or things she sees or doesn't see. It looks really creepy, and I'm super excited. Love Alex Garland. What do you think?
I'm in the same boat. Alex Garland formerly directed Ex Machina and Annihilation. After those two movies, I'll go see anything that guy makes. And this trailer looks just curious enough and just has enough tone that I'm like, yep, I don't know what's happening. Also, for the love of God, Jessie Buckley needs more mainstream work. Like, I love that she's doing indie stuff. She's too good to be trapped in like weird, obscure sci-fi Charlie Kaufman-esque features.
But she's almost too good for
some
mainstream. Like, I don't want her to get lost in a Marvel movie.
Do you know she got her rise to fame by winning like basically American Idol and
No.
they had some kind of basically televised talent contest and she entered as like a singer-songwriter and won, and that's how she got a television role, and she's like incredible. Small world. Jessie Buckley needs more work. Yeah, Men looks great. I will tell you about Firestarter, the new Stephen King adaptation coming to, I think, Hulu and theaters. Is it Hulu? Peacock and theaters, same day release. This is a movie, not a series, starring Zac Efron and a young girl as the titular Firestarter. It's based on a Stephen King novel, and I think it's a adaptation or remake of the Drew Barrymore film from 1984. A young couple has a young girl who is able to start fires with her mind, basically, and they have to get along in the world and teach her to kind of keep that under control before, you know, trouble boils over. So I think I've never actually seen the original. I've never read the Stephen King novel, but I mean, it seems like a great idea, right? Girl that starts fires. Hell yeah, sign me up.
I had a friend who started it and said it's super. The old one is just super slow. The other thing, this reminds me a lot of ET, but then I actually looked it up, and Firestarter came out before ET, so it's maybe the other way around. It looks all right. Zac Efron plays her father, and it's this typical, you know, young girl with supernatural abilities. Government wants to capture her, experiment, like see what she can do, and she gets angry and she hulks out basically and starts fires. I can't tell which, like, it could either be really good or just like a mess and cheesy.
And like, honestly, I thought it was maybe a limited series and I felt like I had more confidence in it. Finding out it's just a movie, I'm like, ooh, okay, I don't know, that might be messy. But shout out to all the millennials like me on Twitter who saw Zac Efron rise from aspiring high school teenager in a Disney movie to now a father. He's caught up with the rest of us. Great, you know, we're all getting older. So Firestarter looks all right. Additionally, there's Jurassic World Dominion, the new Jurassic World feature from Colin Trevorrow, the final, reportedly, in this kind of trilogy he's doing. Features a whole lot of dinosaurs appearing to run all over the world. We got dinosaurs in snow, dinosaurs in the Middle East, dinosaurs in Las Vegas. There's dinosaurs everywhere. And Chris Pratt and the original cast of the Steven Spielberg Jurassic Park are returning to deal with them. Quite the nostalgia cash in, huh? I mean, that's some real cultural capital they've got.
Yeah, it doesn't get bigger than bring back. It's Jurassic Force Awakens is what's happening.
Yeah.
We'll see how it works. I'm sure it'll make $1 billion. The Jurassic Park franchises are all huge money makers, even if like the last one was really kind of bad and cheesy, and it's still $1 billion movie. I doubt this is the last one they'll make. They'll take a hiatus. They'll let like 3 or 4 years go by, and then they'll do like Jurassic Park Origins or something.
Right.
You know, Nedry Origins.
Right.
Something like that. Next on our list is kind of a DC film preview. This was a trailer that featured 4 movies basically, and that a lot of footage we hadn't seen.
What did this trailer come out for? Just like DC in 2022, or was it for HBO? Because I remember they dumped this, and there was a bunch of new footage in it.
I think it probably came out with the Super Bowl at some point. But
that makes sense.
Right. So the 4 movies we get some footage from The Batman, from Black Adam, which comes out in the summer, The Flash, which comes out in November, and Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. the second in that series, which comes out at Christmas. So some of the new things we got to see The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, as Black Adam in costume, which we haven't seen. Yeah, briefly. Yes. We haven't seen that at all. I've been waiting for this since 2014. That's when they first announced it. And they thought that maybe by 2019 they would have the movie done. And
yeah, Black Adam was supposed to be the villain in Shazam, and they ended up pulling him out because they thought it'd be a bigger feature if they made him his own thing. So he was supposed to be on screen a few years ago.
Yeah, so he's in the Shazam verse. He's going to have some of that same mystical power. It looks like he's a good guy who eventually goes bad because he does become a villain. That looks super cool. We get a little bit of the Flash. We get to see kind of this, which we saw in the still before, of multiple Flashes in the frame along with Supergirl. So also some exciting new characters. We saw Hawkman, who apparently is going to be in these things. It looks pretty awesome. Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate, who's Dr. Fate is kind of like the Doctor Strange of the of DC.
Yeah, mystical, magical. I think Hawkman's played by Aldous Hodge, and reportedly you hear Michael Keaton doing Batman in the trailer, but I don't recall that, but that's what I heard.
And then we see Jason Momoa, Underwater, Aquaman sequel to that. Again, I have to remind everyone, Aquaman is DC's biggest franchise, over $1 billion, most profitable. Talk about fun.
Still haven't seen the first one. I need to go watch it.
Yeah, and the first one's not bad. And part of the reason that movie succeeds, there's so much CGI. Like there's these massive underwater battles, and there's like giant crab things, and it's just like it's the kind of thing that works really well internationally because you don't have to understand anything to get the action. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. So that was I was pretty excited about that.
It's definitely exciting to see Black Adam footage. I really want to know more about that Flash movie. Like, Black Adam looks cool, but this Flash multiverse thing is really juicy. I mean, they're talking about, it's basically trying to capture that Marvel energy, right? Pulling a character from the CW show, bringing in new characters we haven't seen before. Like, okay, like something, we got some juice here. Like something's going on, and that's exciting. But I do want to talk about another trailer that premiered during the Super Bowl. It's a big part of why we've got so many damn trailers to talk about. The Super Bowl happened. And did you watch Super Bowl too?
No,
I didn't. No, not at all.
Can't stream. If I can't stream it, I can't watch it.
We've got the trailer for Jordan Peele's new film, Nope. Nope has been on ice for a little while, and people have been very quiet about what that movie's supposed to be. There was an early teaser poster that came out a while back of kind of some kind of mysterious dark storm cloud hovering over a large field or surrounded by some mountains with like a weird ribbon or something coming out of it. And now we have more of an idea of what that is. Nope is the story of what appears to be two young up-and-coming Black ranch owners, who are the up and comer. What's the word I'm looking for here? They own the first American Black horse movie cinema horses ranch. Owned by
it's about as
the
good
clumsiest. God, I should have written something down before I started this. Yes. And they discover one night that there's some kind of force or something out beyond the mountains, just out of reach, that appears to be drawing horses towards it, or has some kind of magnetism or energy that is pulling things in, and they are forced to deal with that. Big Get Out and Us vibes. Oh, Jesus. Big Get Out and Us vibes. Really mysterious. Looks exciting. I mean, surrealist horror from Jordan Peele, right?
Yeah, I really like this trailer because it had the fear in it. Like it wasn't like oh no, aliens are coming, they might kill us. It was like, yes, the characters on screen are terrified of whatever's happened. We get a hint of a glimpse at one of the aliens, or what might be an alien, but it looks properly scary. I mean, like people are like running, like terrified for their lives in these things, and it has a different vibe of like, oh, this looks like it could be really scary. So
yeah,
looking forward to a full trailer on that, and that'll be this summer.
Yes.
And then next we also had another, probably the biggest trailer, was Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, which comes out in May, and we got to see a little bit more of what the madness is. Sort of. We saw Doctor Strange talking with Wanda. What's her real name? What's her?
Romanoff?
Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch.
Scarlet Witch. Yeah,
Scarlet Witch. lots of crazy time bending, world bending things from the future, and this thread of like we don't know who's come through. We see like multiple versions of like evil Doctor Strange, and then possibly, and this was very exciting, the introduction of the X-Men into Marvel, which I totally missed. Apparently, like I'm an idiot. But apparently we hear the voice of Patrick Stewart in a very Professor Xavier way. So this could be Marvel and Disney slowly reintroducing X-Men into the MCU.
That's right. Now you get why I was so hyped. I was like, something's happening in this trailer. I don't know. I'm very excited about this movie, and a big part of the reason is because of Marvel's like incredible marketing clout. We haven't talked about it on the show, but I feel like the movie's been out a few weeks. It's probably fine to say. In the last Spider-Man movie, Marvel managed to get two incredible actors back on screen as their original characters, Spider-Man. Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are both in the film, and they're great in it. And they never once put them in marketing ever. It was entirely viral marketing and word of mouth that got people in theaters to see that stuff. And what that means is Marvel has now crossed this weird threshold where what they don't show you may entice you to come to the theater more than what you actually see. Yeah, that's great. I got Wanda from WandaVision and that the Disney Plus show in there, and that's great. I got Benedict Cumberbatch, Doctor Strange, neat. But like, who isn't there? Who aren't I seeing that's going to impress me and blow me away? And Marvel right now has the rights to 20th Century Fox's X-Men after Disney acquired 20th Century Fox. They also have the rights to the Fantastic Four. People are rumoring we may have a Reed Richards appearance. That's a big deal. Like we may have Professor X showing up. Suddenly, like I have no idea what's coming in the next Marvel movie, and I'm crazy excited for it because if it can have even a fraction of the energy that Spider-Man No Way Home had, then anything could happen. I mean, It's crazy. I'm very excited about this.
We've been wondering, and we've said this on the show, is when are they going to introduce X-Men? Because they, in the 20th Century Fox merger, they got that property, and that is a hugely hot property. The films have been lackluster in the last few years, but still done right, done in the Marvel method. It can be incredible. And not only that, you have to recast all these kind of classic characters. You need a new Wolverine, a new Storm, Beast, Magneto. Like that will be exciting when they start down that road. So this could be the beginning of that.
Yeah, so we'll have to wait and see. But Doctor Strange is multiverse, and also Sam Raimi directing. I mean, come on, it's gonna be a delight. One more trailer to talk about before we get to Drive My Car. I promise we're almost there. If you're just tuning in for the Drive My Car review, we're getting to it. It's good stuff. Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers was announced today from Disney Plus, coming exclusively to Disney Plus. This kind of reboot of the old 90s cartoon series, Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers, based on Chip 'n Dale, the two chipmunks, Disney characters, has been around for a little while. We knew Andy Samberg was involved, and apparently his pop-up comedy hip-hop band, The Lonely Island, is also involved somehow. I don't think they're necessarily writing. I know they're producing. I don't know how exactly they're tied into it, but Andy Samberg and John Mulaney, a comedian, are appearing as the Chip 'n Dale characters in a trailer that is interestingly a hybrid of live action and cartoon, similar to Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Who in fact, Roger Rabbit from Who Framed Roger Rabbit appears in the first few frames of the trailer. Chip 'n Dale are now in this weird BoJack Horseman kind of universe where they are cartoon characters in a live world. I mean, just like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, also BoJack Horseman, this weird kind of surreal attempt at realizing these characters in a physical space. And even though they're both animated, like they both are washed up. They haven't done anything in 30 years. And now some kind of something happens to bring them both together and trigger a new exciting adventure in the world of the real, outside of their cartoon counterparts. They will be running into cartoon characters, engaging with them, maybe riffing on Disney's library and who they've got. In a weird way, this movie looks like one part Warner Brothers Space Jam: A New Legacy, one part Who Framed Roger Rabbit, just a shred of BoJack Horseman, and that you've got these two washed up children's characters who are now, not really doing anything anymore. And also,
maybe they have a drug addiction.
Yeah, Reek was right. Well, one of them is addicted to surgery because he explains that he got the CGI surgery so he
Oh,
can
gosh.
stay uplifted with the times. Yeah, like it's this weird blend into this like kind of sequel remake thing that they're doing. I mean, Disney is not even changing the name. It's literally called Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, which was the name of the show. But it's unique and it's just interesting enough. And I'm like, hold on a second. I haven't seen this before. I haven't seen anybody swing into the uncanny valley and try to make our cartoon characters exist in real life. I mean, I guess Tom and Jerry tried to do that, but like total swing and a miss, right? So this is something different, and that's exciting. Andy, have you even watched this trailer? I don't even know if you've seen it.
No, I haven't. I need to, especially now that you've
That's
described
okay.
it. I used to watch the show. I remember watching the show growing up.
Yeah, they're doing something weird in Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, and having seen a lot of these movies, I'm mildly intrigued. And I've told that to people this morning, and they were like, "What the hell are you talking about? That movie looks terrible." And I'm like, "Well, like, look, if it's gonna be bad, I'd rather you take a stab at doing something drastically different and be bad than do the same thing as everybody else is doing and be bad, like The Matrix." So, except The Matrix is kind of good. So I don't know, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, and that's it for trailers. Andy hasn't seen it, so I'll have to get him to watch it and find out more. In the meantime, we've got one more review to get to. I actually went and saw this. I'm excited to talk about it. Andy, any other thoughts on trailers? Anything upcoming? I mean, what do you think?
I mean, it looks like a good year for movies, especially the summer. Starting in April. I mean, even with the Batman in March, but in late April and into May, middle of the year, it's going to be exciting. We got a lot of stuff coming out.
Yeah, we do have a lot of stuff coming out. So with that, we should jump into our final review of the episode. It's going to be a short one because only one of us has seen it, so I'm going to keep it light. The movie is Drive My Car. So, Drive My Car is Japan's entry into the Academy Awards this year. It's a movie that was not on my radar. I had heard a little bit about it from film Twitter, just kind of whisperings. I hadn't really seen a trailer or anything. The first time I actually got a good look at it was when Andy and I went and saw Nightmare Alley in black and white at the Texas Theater here in town. They ran a trailer in front of it, and I thought, oh, wow. This movie looks different. The trailer featured a lot of these big wide shots of Japan, real wide angle lenses, and featuring this little red Saab 900 driving down the road, little Nissan, and these two people in it. There's this young woman driving the car and this kind of older guy sitting in the back. And there's a few other scenes of action and maybe some drama, but some kind of heartwarming music. And I thought, okay, this looks interesting. This looks like something. So to wrap up this brief biographical bit as to why I was watching this movie, I convinced my wonderful wife to go see it with me over the holiday, and that's when we discovered it is 3 hours long, 2 hours 59 minutes, which is going to be a big part of this review. But we bought our tickets, we went to the Texas Theater, and we were shocked to find it was almost sold out, like almost standing room only. It was hard to find seats, and we got some decent seats. Andy and I can talk later about filling up that the second theater in the Texas Theater. I know what that's like now, seeing a movie with a bunch of people in there. But regardless, Drive My Car is the story of, and I'm going to get pronunciations wrong. I'm going to take a stab at it though. Yusuke Kafuku, a renowned stage actor and director, whose wife has recently passed away, wife of 20 years. And after a couple of years of kind of coping with that, he agrees to take a residence as a stage director for a play his wife helped him create and write in Hiroshima. And once he arrives there, he discovers he's not allowed to drive his car, and he's assigned a driver, which is this young woman named Masaki Watari. That's a better way to pronounce it. Watari. And the two of them start to kind of connect as these kind of hidden aspects of his life start to kind of come forward.
It's like driving Miss Daisy.
It's a little like driving Miss Daisy or Green Book, right? A little like a road trip movie. And a lot of Drive My Car is driving scenes. It really does stick around on those long, wide, beautiful landscape shots of Japan. My God, Japan looks amazing in this movie. Drive My Car is beautifully shot, and the visuals were the first thing that really pulled me in, right? Because obviously it's a foreign language film, so the plot was a little fuzzy going in, but I knew it was really pretty. And Drive My Car has this wonderful sense of place. I think that the setting of Drive My Car seems so exciting because you get these wonderful sunsets and beautiful sunrises and just kind of a slice of the world we don't see. It's like America. It's similar, but it's also drastically different. And they managed to really draw you in with unique visuals. Our plot is obviously more complicated than I've kind of revealed at the beginning, and it's an interesting journey into exploring grief. Really, is what it is, and kind of how we as humans have to, cope with that and deal with it, and continue to not just live our lives, but literally play a role in our lives as we've shaped them. That's a big part of the movie. Our lead is a playwright. He's an actor and now a stage director, and he's casting a group of young and old individuals to be in this play that his wife helped him develop. So it's very near and dear to him. He used to play the lead in the play, and it's wonderful because Drive My Car manages to say a lot about language, similar to how Bong Joon-ho did with Parasite when it won at the Academy Awards, and he said, you shouldn't be afraid of foreign films, like, because all you have to do is read subtitles. That's it. And once you get over reading subtitles, like, you can really embrace anything. Drive My Car goes further. In the world of Drive My Car, plays are multinational, and all of the plays in Drive My Car have a giant screen behind them. They're stage plays, just like any other stage play, right? Just like Shakespeare. But all the plays have a giant screen behind them with subtitles put on screen in multiple different languages. And because you can read what's happening in the plays in Japanese, Chinese, Mandarin, English, and I think Korean in some scenes, the casts in the plays can speak any language. And suddenly Drive My Car takes a turn, because not only is it this interesting story about a man who's struggling to cope with the death of his wife and coming to understand who she was in the parts that he didn't understand, he didn't know about her. It also casts a play full of characters who don't speak the same language and have to communicate to each other through physical action. You get a wonderful scene where they're auditioning people, and two people come in, and one is originally Mandarin but speaks almost damn near perfect English, which is weird because it's the first time the movie drops the subtitles out from under you, and suddenly you're looking at characters speaking English on screen. Meanwhile, the actor she's playing against is Japanese and literally says, "I don't know what she's saying, but I know the script. So do you just want me to respond to her blind, or how do I do that?" And suddenly you have characters like engaging with each other in such a human way where language doesn't matter. What they're saying to each other, we can read through subtitles or understand by them speaking in English. But like the emotion of the call and response of engaging with people, like, is suddenly what comes to the forefront. This all comes to a head with the casting of a young, wonderful young woman. I want to make sure I get her name right. Her name is parkyu-rim. This is her only acting credit. She speaks in Korean Sign Language.
Oh wow!
All physical. She can hear language, as said in the film. She can hear, but she can't speak. She's mute. So she comes to audition for the play, and you get this really, really emotionally halting scene that comes out of nowhere, and it's so great. It's one of my favorite scenes of 2021. I'll have to talk to Andy about it after he sees it. It's really great, and it just kind of keeps that going. But to wrap this up, the problem with Drive My Car is the runtime. It's too long. It's just too long. Why? It is. Like, that's the one thing. If this movie was 2 hours, I would be shouting it from the rooftops. I would be like, everybody needs to see Drive My Car. It's so powerful. It's emotionally gripping. I really was moved by this movie. It's too damn long.
Why is it 3 hours long? Why is it 3 hours long?
Why is it 3 hours long? Drive My Car is 3 hours long because it's a movie. Well, Drive My Car. I was going to say Drive My Car is 3 hours long because it's a movie that respects its audience. Drive My Car will tell an entire arc through visuals only without any words spoken. Because again, it starts to kind of transcend this issue of language by approaching this idea that grief is universal and grief is human, and like, sadness and sorrow and also happiness and celebration and joy are something that everybody experiences in the same way, regardless of where you're from or who you are. That's I think part of the central driving notion of Drive My Car. But there's also a lot of car scenes and a lot of landscapes and a lot of our characters driving. The reason our lead takes such an issue with having a driver is because he's a stage director and an actor, and in his car, that's when he runs lines. he runs the script in his head. So suddenly when he has a young female driver with him, he's like, well, this is going to be weird when I'm sitting in the back talking to myself and acting scenes from a play, and she's just going to be sitting up there quietly. So you get this kind of wonderful development between them. But you also get, I mean, literally, like, this is going to sound silly, but 5-10 minute sequences of just a car on the road and music and thoughtful scripting and emotion behind that, but also just really long sequences of driving, like a long road trip. Additionally, to offset that, Drive My Car also has long one take sequences of really good acting. Really good acting. There are Academy Award nominated snubs in here, honestly. On God, there are at least 2 people in this movie that should have been nominated for Oscars, and Andy and I'll talk about it after he sees it. But there are really good bits in here of genuine emotion, combined with long sequences of, you know, thoughtful emotion when you're kind of supposed to reflect and think about it. And it's just too long. That's the one thing I don't like about this movie, because I can't recommend it to people because it's 3 freaking hours. Andy, I have full confidence you're gonna like this movie, because I already know you can appreciate foreign cinema for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll be able to watch this on HBO when it comes to HBO Max on March 2nd. So you don't need to go see this in theaters. It is coming to HBO very soon. I'll probably watch it again. But watching it at home, you'll have the advantage of an intermission. You'll be able to pause. You'll be able to take a break. You can come back if you want. And I think that will probably hurt the overall experience, like any long movie, but it's necessary. It's just too long. That's the one thing about Drive My Car I wish I could change. But otherwise, I was really pleased with this movie. If I had seen it last year, it would have made my top 10. It might have made my top 5. Actually, it almost certainly would have made my top 5. Drive My Car is super good, and I can't wait for Andy to see it so we can talk about it. So,
yeah. Looking forward to it. Like you said, it comes out March 2nd on HBO. That was just very recently announced and secured that release date. So it will be available for you to watch in three or 4 parts.
Yeah, it was nice catching shit from you in the chat when you were like, "Ha, you paid ticket price to see this movie.
You paid to see it and spend an entire
it's coming
day."
Yeah, that was pleasant. So, but honestly, I'm gonna be pushing hard, dude. When that comes out March 2nd, I'm gonna be hitting you up in the DMs like, "When have you watched it yet? When are you watching it? Can I come over and watch it with you?" Because good stuff. A quick content warning. I don't know if Drive My Car is rated in the States as rated R or NC-17. There is some graphic sexual imagery in the first act of this film. So I would encourage you. I mean, if you're an adult, obviously, like, you're fine, but like, I just don't watch it with your parents.
Don't watch with the kids.
Like, there's
Don't
some.
watch with the parents.
I was surprised sitting in the theater. I was like, this isn't an American cinema. Good Lord. It's not too bad, but like, just, you know, avoid the awkwardness. Take it serious, because the movie takes it serious. It's not. It is not joking with you when it's showing you anything. Yeah, Drive My Car is great. I think it's super good, and I think if you like the show, you should totally check it out. And that's it for our show. That's the whole thing. Andy, as far as any like favorite romance, can I hit you with an offbeat one?
Sure. I mean, I did.
It may not, it may not be my favorite, but it's one I think of a lot. Joe Wright's Pride and Prejudice, starring Keira Knightley and Matthew
Perfectly
McFadden.
fine choice.
Dude, there's still scenes in that movie that give me chills. Like the way the music swings in, or like a camera will just kind of slowly pull in on something, is great. And since then, Joe Wright's gone on to do Darkest Hour with Gary Oldman. He's got Cyrano coming out just this year, I think, with my God, I can't remember. Is it Peter Dinklage? Yeah, Joe Wright's done some cool stuff, and a lot of that started with Pride and Prejudice. It's a very thoughtful film.
I wanted to very briefly say, so my pick, Blue Valentine. There's a 2010 movie which came out with starring Ryan Gosling and Michelle Williams, which is actually about the end of their relationship, but flashes back constantly to the very beginning of their relationship when they were first met, very young, and in love, and then she gets pregnant very soon into dating, and they stay together, and it's like they're very hopeful as this young struggling couple, and you kind of see the downfall of it 6 years later. It was very powerful and very movie, but it's what I think of.
I've never watched it. I heard it was
bit of a downer.
Yeah,
but, it's a tragedy, but it's that's usually how a lot of these love stories end. So,
and rock solid performances, by the way, from Gosling and Michelle Williams, I've heard.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah, I've never, like I said, I've never seen it. I'm sure at some time I'll get into it, but my God, good God, Andy,
might be
what
a
a
little
grim pick.
might be a little
Yeah.
devastating.
Well, at least you didn't say like, Manchester by the Sea. Like that would have been, that
That
would somehow would have been drier than Blue Valentine. Blue
yeah,
Valentine's dry, but it's bold.
it did. That actually did come to mind as well because Michelle Williams has a great scene at the end of that as well.
Mm. It's hard to believe she's in as few scenes as she's in that movie for as good as she is. Because yeah, she definitely steals them when she's there. She's really good in Manchester by the Sea. God. speaking of dry cinema, Andy, what are we watching next week?
We are actually on break next week because, well, there's not anything big coming out. Uncharted is the big release next week, but also yours truly will be getting his eyes zapped, and I'm going to be getting LASIK in 2 days on Thursday.
Yay! Getting LASIK.
Getting
This isn't.
lasered.
Yeah, getting lasered. Relatively new development. Actually, something you were going to have a few weeks ago, but due to some inclement weather here in Texas,
Yep.
you opted to hold off. I've got questions. I know I've already asked you a little about it on the show, but I guess up front, are you nervous?
A little nervous.
I'd be a
but,
little nervous. I mean,
yeah. I've funny enough, the procedure itself, it's a 2-step thing. Each step is like 30 seconds. Like because they do it all with, it's machines and lasers, and they just do it super fast. So that part's gonna be really quick. But I will be there for about 3 hours on game day. Because they have to do a lot of measurements and readings of your eyes, and they do that when you go for a consultancy, but they do them all over again just to double check everything, make sure they know exactly how much to zap your eyes.
Silly question. Any like medical? First off, what's prep and then post op look like? Do you have to like drink a lot of water and stay hydrated going into it, or do you not eat anything? And then afterwards, like you can't look at a screen for a while, right? What's that?
All right. So if you wear contacts, you actually have to not wear them for about a month before the procedure.
Oh damn.
Get your eyes just because your eyes just are healthier without contacts. So
and let them bounce back to their natural buoyancy or whatever. Yeah.
Mm-hmm,
I'm a contact wearer. I wear contacts, so yeah, I get that.
Also, if you're for ladies and men, no facial makeup for the week prior to surgery as well, because you want your eyes as clean as possible and everything around your eyes. I'm supposed to do a little bit of like warm compresses to kind of run and massage my eyes a little bit, I guess, just to get any kind of grime or dirt, make your eyes as moist and as kind of clean as possible
right
beforehand.
Do they make you do like an eye wash station, like in chemistry class, right? I mean, basically, I'm sure like they want your eyes rinsed out and good. Yeah, like
first 24 hours are kind of the most intense. You're basically just supposed to go home and sleep as much. No small screens, no big screens, really no reading, nothing. And that will make your eyes focus for the first 12 to 24 hours. Yeah. After that, and they give you safety goggles to sleep in so you don't roll around and poke your eye out. And then for the next week, you got to be careful, mostly about things that will dry out your eyes. So actually, one of the interesting things is no ceiling fans for a week.
That is interesting.
And
don't go outside when it's windy, stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. Not going to go swimming for a week, and so they said it'll be a little, vision will be a little glary, fuzzy for the first 2 or 3 days, and then everything will clear up, and then you just got to mostly be careful.
Yeah, and then you're good for usually 10 to 15 years, and I think you get an adjustment, or you just start wearing readers, right, and you're fine.
Right? Yeah.
That's gonna be great, man. I'm jealous. I really am. That's something I've wanted to do for a long time. So
I'm interested.
And also, yeah.
Well, instead, I'm interested because obviously what we do is watch movies, and it's going to be interesting to see the difference of the first time I go into a theater without my glasses on. What's it going to be?
Oh, like? Dude. Oh, absolutely. You're gonna have laser vision. I think you're gonna be able to see through time like Dr. Manhattan. Like you're gonna be able to do anything. Yeah. So I'm excited for you. It'll be good. Honestly, you getting it will probably be a big harbinger if I end up getting it at some point. I'll be like, well, Andy did it. It was great. Why not? Right? Anybody could do it. So yeah, we'll be following your career with great interest. We'll
Excellent.
We'll see what we can find out. And I think it's probably best we take a break next week. I'm going to be honest. I did want to try to wrangle Andy into going to see Uncharted. I know it's terrible, but I have played all those games and my wife has played all those games, and she was low-key looking forward to maybe making her first guest appearance on the show, talk about Uncharted. And then Andy said he was getting LASIK, and I was like, okay, well, I don't expect you to fry your eyes for Uncharted.
It's the following week.
I was going to say, if we do get to it, I would like to talk about it. And she also low-key does very much want to appear on the show at some point. She's got to make her 166 episodes. She's never made her debut, so I don't know. but that's something to look forward to. So we will be back in March, likely March 1st. That's the first Tuesday of the month. And I think we're going to be right here, keeping it real and off script. If you enjoyed the show today, God, I just realized how long this episode ran. If you enjoyed our show today, talking about Death on the Nile or Driving My Car, upcoming trailers, or any news, this is stuff we do every single week right here on offscriptfilmreview.com. You can subscribe to get the audio version on iTunes or Spotify or Google Play or whatever your favorite podcast provider is. You can follow us on Facebook, where we live stream the show every Tuesday, or over on YouTube, where we post our live streams shortly afterwards. We're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're around. And you can check out our website at offscriptfilmreview.com. But the best way to get a hold of us is to email us, mail@offscriptfilmreview.com. DMs are great, but those go straight to our inboxes. All right, we can't miss them. We read correspondence on the air and we get it. We talk about movies, that's our whole thing. Movies are expensive, podcasts are cheap, so thanks for keeping it real with us on Offscript Film Review. And with that, I'm Zach Lewis.
And I'm Dr. Draper.